Well, hey, everybody. Welcome into the Film and Whiskey Podcast. I'm Bob Book.
I'm Brad G.
And we've got a special guest with us here today, Brad, joining us for the first time in, 8 or 9 months, which for them is an eternity because they're always putting out new stuff. It's our friend Joe Beatrice from Barrell Craft Spirits. Joe, how you doing today, man?
Great, thanks. Thanks for having me. Happy to be here. How are you guys doing? You guys look good. You look like you're ready to go.
Yeah, know, well fed, as they say. So, we're doing well, man.
I am always so excited to talk to you.
Have you guys seen the TikToks where there's two dogs and it's like, if dogs did podcasts?
No.
It's really
gosh.
funny.
Is it just a picture of Bob and I's face?
Yeah, that's kind of what reminded me of it.
Yeah, I think that's perfect. Now, speaking of TikToks, I don't know if I got a chance to tell you about this, but our highest performing TikTok of last year was when we were at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. And Brad and I have very publicly spoken about the barrel slushy that we love more than anything at the festival. And so our whole TikTok was, here's the best thing we tried at every booth of Kentucky Bourbon Festival. And so we went over to like the Heaven Hill booth and filmed the sign. And then I just would raise the barrel slushy up into the frame. This is the best thing I had at Heaven Hill. This is the best thing I had at Four Roses. Listen, man, as a guy from a market, please, Brad, go ahead.
I was going to say, and it was an honest TikTok. It was the one true thing you could find on the internet that day.
I don't know whose idea that was, Joe, but like give them a raise because it's the best thing every single year there.
Yeah, we love doing that. It's we publish the ingredients, but it's a secret recipe. So
there you go.
Hard to be replicated, but yeah, I mean, we're so excited that everybody loves it, and it's become sort of the fan favorite. So yes, we're going to have it this year. In the volume that we have to produce, we have two houses. We Airbnb two houses there, and I was talking to Dad about it yesterday. They're already laying in the supplies. They have to coordinate this and mix it up in the kitchen and do it in batches. It's like this thing is a well-oiled machine. I love this event. It's such a good event. But
we'll be sure to come by the tent and get many, many slushies. I think at some point we start calling them sloshies, Brad, because that's it kind of replicates our feeling, right?
Yes. Yeah. Oh, it's easily the best part of the KBF for me.
Well, Joe, it's been about 9 months since you've been on the show, and I wanted to kind of lead off a little bit by talking about what's new at Barrell, because you guys are, among the top of the industry in terms of always having something new in the pipeline, whether it's in your core lineup or in your kind of specialty release. The finished series, I think, is going fantastic right now for you guys. So catch our listeners up a little bit about what's been new at Barrell over the last 9 months.
Yeah, it's been, we have been, extremely busy, and we've done a bunch of releases. We just did, it's going in the market now, the Decade release, which is, so this is it's Canadian whiskey that is, okay, I want to make sure I say it exactly right. It's from...
Don't get the TTB after you here. Yeah.
Well, first of all, it is... We can't... Okay. Technically, we can't call it Canadian whiskey because it's whiskey from Canada that we imported, but once you finish it, it's no longer Canadian whiskey according to the regulations.
Oh,
obviously. It makes sense.
So it's whiskey there's distillate from 1995 to 2005 from each of the years, and that we blended in to make this Decade blend. Yeah, that's awesome. That was a fun project, and it's like 127 proof. That's a good one. We got that out there. I'm just have to remind myself what else we did. We did a full proof bourbon, which is bottled at the barrel entry proof. So, and so since we have such a wide range of products we put in there, it was a complicated thing to get it all down into the right proof level. We had Toasted Vantage, which was one of my favorites. We had a 33-year-old whiskey. There was one other thing that the triple rum cask finish product. So we're really busy. And I mean, right now coming up, we're going to be doing this, which we're going to taste. The Armagnac batch 37 is in the market.
Mm-hmm.
We have a New Year bourbon. And we
New Year is always such a good release.
Yeah.
And I'm the wrong person to ask, because I'm like,
listen,
I love them all, but it's really good.
If I can sum up, here's what I'm hearing is that you guys have so much going on that you can just kind of throw away the phrase, "Oh yeah, we had a 33-year whiskey," and then not give any additional context to that. Like, it's just another one in the lineup.
No big deal.
So.
Yeah. Well, and it's interesting because we're experimenting a little bit with it. Because we have our core line of products, and Foundation is doing really well, and we released a double barrel version, which I think we may have talked about that. I think we did.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. The double barrel, which is doing well. We're doing a little bit of package tweaking, redesign. But we're also doing more. We've really. Last year was one of those years where we talked about it and said, we got to get back. Let's get back to our roots and do the things that we really like to do, which are these, really interesting, complex releases, that are just, that just are nuanced and layered, and so we've been trying to balance out. The release of those products is largely dictated by whatever the barrel ingredients we're using. So it could be 500 cases, it could be 1,000 cases, it could be 100 cases, and mm-hmm. So we have all these concepts, we have all these products that we have lined up that we'll do. And so depending upon the yield, we sort of sequence them in a way that we try to make it so that the most people can get it.
Yeah.
And in the rare exception, like we do that, we do the 20-year-old single barrel. There's only one barrel, and so we decided rather than doing, one release with the 10 barrels, we're going to do one per year, because now this year it's going to be 21 and 22 years old. So that's the only one that's really that limited. But yeah, I mean, we got a lot happening.
Barrel for all the people.
That's what I love. That's what I love about them, Brad.
Blending for the masses.
A true democratic company here. Yeah. Well, we have two samples that we're going to be sipping through as we talk to Joe today. One of them from their core lineup. It's their batch 37 bourbon. Get it in the shot here. Now, this is a cask strength bourbon. That's a blend of straight bourbon whiskeys. I'm counting 7 different bourbons in here, Brad, from Kentucky, Indiana, and Tennessee, ranging from 8 years up to 15 years in age. Guys, I'm going to start sipping on this. Brad, why don't we talk a little bit? I thought it'd be fun as we talk about what's new with Barrell to talk about what's new in movies as well. And Joe has had experience in the movie industry, and he is a lover of movies. So I know this guy's been going to the theater at least a couple times this year. Joe, while we sip on this, walk us through a little bit of what you've been watching this year and what's really stuck out to you.
I have sort of a eclectic taste. I like a lot. I'm not a big Marvel Universe movie fan, but I felt like it was a tad lean this year. But to me, the 3 things that really stuck out were, the Mission Impossible franchise. I can't get enough of that. We went back and watched the last, I don't know, dozen, back to back before we went to the theater. It was really good. That was a great experience. I just love those movies. I cannot get enough of watching that stunt when he jumps off that canyon. It is incredible.
It's wild.
So good.
And that whole train sequence was just, I loved it. So that was really good. And it went on forever, which I love. So we had that. The other thing I thought that was excellent this year was Ballerina. I am so excited about that movie. I love Keanu Reeves' cameo. He was perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you're the second person to bring up Ballerina on the podcast, and it's funny because it wasn't a huge moneymaker, but I think the people that saw it really liked it. And my recommendation to people is just listen. There's a sequence at the end of this film with dueling flamethrowers, and if dueling flamethrowers sounds cool to you, you need to see this movie. That's the selling point.
That I was exactly going to say that. That to me is and that's after a 10-minute action sequence in that town that was amazing. Then how do you end it with a flamethrower battle? Oh,
what other way is there?
Yeah,
that's what I imagine. It's what I imagine like the Cooperages do when they're like toasting barrels. At the end of the day, they're just like, you know what? Let's just shoot these at each other for a while. Why not?
I would say if dueling flamethrowers isn't the pinnacle of action cinema, what are we doing?
It's the high point. There's that one. And then the only other one that to me, I think was noteworthy this year, which is, it's hard to believe, was Spinal Tap. I mean,
oh, man.
So I have a personal history with Spinal Tap. I worked in the movie business for a couple of years out of college, and I was involved in the theatrical release in New England of.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And so they performed 2 concerts, one in New York and one in Boston. And my wife and I, Jen and I, went to the one in Boston, and it was everything you'd expect it would have been.
They performed through the whole soundtrack of the original. Oh, that's cool.
They did.
That's incredible.
It was an 8:00 concert, and they showed up at 1 or 2 in the morning, something like that. It was. They were right in character. Yeah. In their white limousine. That was really cool. And so it was really, really great to relive that movie because it's so good. It's so well made. I love Spinal Tap. I'm really psyched for the next one. Anyway.
I feel that makes me think of like if you were a businessman and you got a call from like Andy Dwyer trying to sell you paper. Like in real life, he is trying to sell you paper. That would just be absolutely perfect.
I love that, man. No, yeah, I'm super excited for the new one to come out as well. I love that we're revisiting not just like legacy sequels of comedies. You know, we got Happy Gilmore and now we have a new Naked Gun, but that it seems like we're returning to just out and out silliness in comedies, which we haven't really had in a while. I went and saw Naked Gun just the other night, Brad, and it was just the stupidest. It reminded me of like something we haven't had since maybe Zoolander, where there's a million jokes in a row and half of them are just dumb funny. And I've really missed those movies. I'm not going to lie.
That is on, we didn't get to it because I told you we had COVID. We didn't get to it this yet. It is on my list. I absolutely want to see it. You're right. And also like if you go back and look at some of those movies, like Happy Gilmore, any Cheech and Chong movie, you look at that and it's like, wow, it's just, you go and just laugh. It's just funny.
Yep. 100%, man.
All right. Anyway, whiskey.
Yeah. Barrell 37. Brad, you and I have been sipping on it. Let's give some brief notes here because we will put full reviews on our website. You guys can go to filmwhiskey.com and hear what we think of both of these releases. But Barrell 37, Brad, good? Very good?
Honestly, I can't comment because I'm drinking the Barrell Armagnac because that is freaking delicious and it's what I poured. So,
well, let's do this then. I'll give some notes on 37. You'll give some notes on the to be named whiskey at the end of the podcast here. Joe, right before we pressed record, you told me that this batch 37 bourbon you've nicknamed Nostalgic Halloween. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about that.
Yeah, it was, when we're doing the notes, one of the things that came out was we referenced Halloween candies. And I was thinking, as I was tasting it, it just sort of triggered a whole bunch of things. I'm like, it really is nostalgic. I get candy corn. Like I get candy corn. I get, apples, the cherry. I said that to somebody recently and they were like, oh, do you mean nostalgic Halloween? Like the smell inside of a plastic mask? I'm like, no, I did not mean that. I meant candy corn.
That's a very specific memory.
Then she went on. I mean, this is one of our distributors, and she went on to like really dig into that. I'm like, wow, you must have spent a lot of time with that mask on because. But that wasn't where I was going. To me, it's more of that. It's that just that everything from when you're a kid, and the intense amount of different sugar and the things that you want to everything about Halloween, cramming as much in as you can before you get home, that kind of stuff.
I don't know if this is on there since I'm drinking something else. But my favorite thing at Halloween is to have the glass dish on the table with candy corn and peanuts. I don't know if you guys have ever done that. It is an excellent move. Candy
I've never had that.
Oh, because like candy corn, as you get older, the sweetness is like you can have like 3 individual kernels, and you're like, I'm done. You throw a handful of just salted peanuts in there with the candy corn. Oh,
it is
so
a pro
good.
move. I'm not going to lie. Brad introduced me to that, and it really does. It cuts the sweetness a little bit because you get the fattiness of a nut, right?
A little salty.
I got to say, man, this is everything you just said. Like nostalgic Halloween is the perfect description for this. Candy corn's definitely present. I get a ton of like Luxardo cherry on this.
Yeah.
And then towards the back of the palate, you're right. You do get some like red apple peel. It reminds me of like bobbing for apples at Halloween. I think it's just, this is a perfect description of a bourbon as we get into the autumn season here.
And there's also like there's a little like licorice. It's elusive, but it's in there a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, it's there. And so just sort of a note on the whiskeys too. I mean, when you reference the different whiskeys and what you have in when we list that out, those are the ages from the states that are participating. But within that, there may be on the 11-year-old, there might be 4 different bourbons that we put in there. Mm-hmm. So our blends are increasingly becoming more complex. And part of it's a function of us. We have a pretty large barrel inventory. And so we spend a lot of time with that. We're constantly tasting things. So because we have a rick house in Louisville and we keep not all of our barrels, but a big chunk of our barrels there. So we have access to them, and anything we need to replace, we bring in as we need it. And so they're really, we look at that as ingredients. And so we have all those barrels. So we have barrels from that lot. And then we also do things like we'll take a couple of different groups of barrels. It could be the same distillery, it could be the same mash bill, it could be a different one. And we make micro blends. And so we kind of put those aside, and because we've figured out that there's a particular note that comes out really strongly in one of those. And so we keep that. So now we have I think there's something like, it's like 50 steel containers that we have that's from 250 down to, I think we have some smaller ones like 75 or 100 gallon ones that we just, that's really our spice cabinet. So as we're doing the final tweaking, we just grab a little of that, and we put it in there.
I love that you use the term spice cabinet. Like my spice cabinet has like, $1 spices from the store. Yours has millions of barrels of whiskey, and that. Yeah.
Just a little zest to sprinkle over the rest of it, And
then, and we have so many experiments that we've been doing with different kinds of barrels, toasted barrels, so that it just becomes a really, it's playtime. That's the best part. But, I mean, like, if that could be everything that you ever only do, that'd be great. But the real world is, you got other stuff you got to do.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, Joe, I wasn't going to put you on the hot seat here today, but I think, now that the whiskey's hitting a little bit, I might do that a bit. Brad and I have been talking a lot. We've been doing episodes every week of just kind of news updates in the world of whiskey. And, the bourbon industry is going through an interesting time right now, to say the least. And we haven't really talked a lot on the podcast about brands in your category, which are non-distilling producers. And so I think, first of all, it might be nice to just kind of give our listeners a bit of an overview of what a non-distilling producer is and does, but kind of what the outlook for NDPs are over the next few years, because I feel like there are situations and challenges that are hitting one part of the industry, which are the distillers and their inventory, which may not necessarily affect NDPs going forward. So as you kind of look to the future, what do you see happening in your category?
Yeah, it's a really good question. I'll try to keep. I could talk about this for hours, so I'll try to. I mean, again, as I mentioned, we have blending whiskey, and then there's the business of this business, and so I spend a lot of my time in the world of the business of this business. So first, it's a good. It's funny, generally speaking, people who in the whiskey world know what an NDP is at this point, and when we started, they didn't. We probably mentioned this at one point. If I'm repeating, just tell me. We were Trip and I when we'd have to explain what it is that we do, we say, we're not a producer. So let me hold that for 1 second. So when I first started the company, my wife John and I went and visited a distillery, and I was looking to do. I was trying to sort out what I wanted to do, and I was like, why don't we build a distillery? Why don't we do that? And she was like, we talked about it, and it was okay. And then it took me 1 week to figure out that I did not want to build a distillery. It was absolutely not what I wanted to do. It was the capital investment was ridiculous. I at the time I didn't know Trip. We had the expertise afterwards, but now at that point, to me, it was a little bit, and I didn't want to build a factory. I mean, and I'm not, and I don't mean that in any disparaging way, but producing bourbon and people who produce bourbon well are actually making a factory. I was using the example with somebody of like, if you've ever read the case study of Tropicana orange juice, it is an amazing science what they have to do to make that carton of orange juice taste the same, because oranges have as much variation as bourbon barrels.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
I didn't want to do that. I wanted to focus on the brand. So, and then, it was the cast strength limited release, the unique limited releases was the core we wanted to do. So we'll fast forward that and come back to the NDP. So we decided to be an NDP, and it was funny because I never really thought that it was going to be, there'd be so many questions about it, because people at one point said to us, is that even legal? You buy whiskey and put it in your brand. And I was like, did you realize that there's like 4 distilleries in the world that make bourbon?
Yeah.
Not
right.
anymore. Now there's 2,000.
Wow.
Yes, in the United States, 2,100, something like that. Yeah.
That's
but it
crazy.
was different. It was a different world. So yeah. And so I figured the place that we could add value and what I was most interested in was in what we put in the bottle, creating something that was really amazing. And so that's really where we spent all of our energy, building that out. So that's the NDP world. Where I try to be looking forward all the time. That's why when you ask me what we produce this year, I'm kind of like, I don't remember. I got to go back and look.
Right.
I'm living in next year already.
Mm-hmm.
And so part of that was there was clearly in 23 things changing. And so we got out in front of a lot of this stuff, made some hard decisions, but they're the right decisions for a business. We're living with that. I think what you're seeing is, you're right to separate the world into those which produce bourbon, especially on the contract world, which is a different business than we're in, and they have their own challenges, and there's been some consolidation, but I think that they continue to make it. The amount of whiskey that's being produced every year is staggering, but and presumably they all have homes for it, so otherwise they wouldn't produce it. That's one side of it. The other side of it for us is the business of the brand. And so our focus has been to be as consistent with an inconsistent product, meaning, the quality being as consistent and always delighting. I don't like that word usually, but, delighting people with something really different and new. So you may like one of ours more than another, but it's not getting in that bottle unless it tastes good. Right. So we've built on that reputation, and we're doing okay. But it's a down market. If you look at pre-COVID and now, the curve goes like this. So and it's slightly flat. It depends on who you listen to and what segment. Is it flat or down 5 to 8%? It depends on the segment you're playing. It is down a little bit. Overall, adult beverage consumption is up. There's been share traded with RTDs. Wine's really down. Beer is struggling a little bit. Craft especially. I don't know. It's so there's a lot of noise in the market. We're doing what the thing that I think that we can do is to maintain our share and our growth. It isn't the growth, it isn't COVID growth, but we're holding our own, and we're actually really the only like independent in the Nielsen ratings in the top whiskeys, especially in the high end segments. So, and it's tough. I mean, it is a tough market. The distributors are consolidating. RGC in California it's a mess. I think that this brand's scrambling. We work with, about 17, give or take, distributors across country. And, that's been hard fought. We've built those relationships over the years, and, we're happy with whom we're working. And, and so we focus on our business. It's tough. I mean, it's hard out there. I mean, we have a lot of challenges, but we're trying to address them as they come up.
Well, in the midst of all those challenges, you guys keep releasing extraordinary whiskey. Like I've been drinking this Armagnac, and I'm just like, is this the best thing I've drank in the 8.5 months of this year? It is up there.
So Brad, first of all, Joe, thank you for giving such a thorough and thoughtful answer there. And there have been challenges, and I think that it's been interesting. Yeah. No, it's been interesting doing this podcast because, when we started the show, the box office for movies and the, returns on bourbon were at an all-time high. And now I've seen both industries kind of enter a bit of a dip here, and tough decisions get made and challenges facing the industries. And so it's been interesting for Brad and I to kind of report on those as they come up, because just the timbre of things has changed a little bit. And I think, we find kind of comfort and solace in the fact that the product that's still coming out in both industries is really, really great. And Barrell, I think, is a fantastic example of that. I cracked this Armagnac the other day, and Joe, I'll let you go ahead and intro it a little bit, but this is a very strong contender for my favorite whiskey of 2025. This is unbelievably good, man. Yeah.
I'm really glad you like it. So this was, the Armagnac, cask one is, this is, the 4th or 5th in release we've done. We started out with probably a very obscure one, the Tale of Two Islands, which was our rum that was in was the bourbon that was finished in, Jamaican and, Islay casks. That was the bourbon. So we did a rum, Jamaican rum. Then we took some of the remaining then we finished some bourbon in those casks. So that was a little bit obscure. So the first cask release was a bourbon finished in 2 different casks, a rum cask and an Islay cask. So that was the first one. Then we did a Mizunara. We did we did the ice wine, and we have a PX sherry right now that's in the market. So this was supposed to be released in the winter, but we taste, as mentioned, we taste. We're constantly sampling our barrels to see where they are, and it wasn't ready, so we left it. We left it and decided we'd just do it as a fall release. It's a relatively small one. I don't think there's more than, there might be 1,000 to 1,200 cases of this, something like that.
Wow.
So, but it's out. It's going to be out there. It's blended. It'll be in the market probably. You'll start seeing it on the shelves in early mid-September. But yeah, I mean that's the other side of it. This is okay. I think they're all. I'm the wrong person to ask. I think they're all amazing. I mean,
no, this one is like. It reminds me a little bit, Bob, of that Bushmills 30 year we had. Mm-hmm. Like, there's like this fruity stone fruit prune bomb, but it has like some cinnamon and spiciness going on with it. And like, it has some classic brown sugary stuff that I'm just like, how do I not love every single drop of this? It's so stinking good.
But at the same time, though, there's a dryness of it that's the thing here is it's sort of like I think of like when you think of a really good cherry wheat beer, right? Like a really good one. The key is it not to be sweet. So it's unsweetened cherry concentrate generally, or some version of that's used. And when you taste that, it's like you get the full blast of the cherry, the black cherry, the rich cherry, but it has to be not sweet, because otherwise it doesn't work. That's one of the things I really get here. Like you get all of those incredible sweet notes, but it's not sweet.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's,
No, I think
it's sort of the way
100%.
agricole. It's the way agricole sort of operates in the rum world. Where for me, I love agricole. It's a little it doesn't have a huge popularity. It's not the rum profile that American drinkers like. I think it's spectacular. Because it's sort of like where tequila's going. It's different. Like what people like in tequila is different from what core tequila is.
Yeah.
I'm going to get people going to jump all me on both of those, but okay.
Yeah, no, honestly, it reminds me a little bit. I was in Ukraine back in 2010, I want to say, and they had like a cherry juice there that was like, it was somehow tart but not tart and sweet but not sweet. Like it was one of the best things I've ever drank in my life. And this does remind me of that, where it has everything you want from both worlds without really any of the negatives that you might associate with it.
There's no cloying flavors. So like when you think about, when you think about sort of there's little pumpernickel, the ginger, caraway, those spices are all in here. You think about the, just the way, to me, the finish on this thing, it just goes and goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. So this is,
no, I think this is the perfect time of year to release it too. Like, you released 37 about a month ago, and I think that leads into the fall season really, really well. I think releasing this Armagnac finish here at the beginning of September, that leads into the late fall, early winter season really, really well. Brad, I think that month between like Thanksgiving and Christmas, where you're like hearing songs about figgy pudding and you're just eating different kinds of desserts, this goes so perfectly with those kind of like early Christmas vibes. I'm going to be drinking this all through the fall season, man. It's really, really great stuff, Joe.
Okay, until the new year comes out, then you can drink that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Joe, before we let you go today, you did mention one thing that I want to make sure we get to and talk about an industry that's struggling, but an industry that we all really, really love, and that is the drive-in movie. Now, we are in the end of the summer season. Drive-ins will be shutting down at some point. They'll probably go into October-ish around here, Brad. Joe, what is it about the drive-in that appeals to you? It does have a sense of nostalgia. I freaking love, for me being just a cheap bastard, I love getting 2 movies for the price of 1. That's the best part for me.
I think it was big when I was a kid. There were a lot of drive-in theaters. It's, it's also part of a misspent youth doing the drive-ins because you could do that. You fill up the car, you go and have fun. I love the experience. I mean, you're outside. It's the summertime or the fall and, or the spring. And, it's beautiful. You can sit outside. You can be in the car. It's to me the best of everything. And, the concession stand movie. I mean, the concession stand video, like, isn't that like the best thing in the world? I hate to admit it, but I've actually watched them on YouTube.
You've searched them out.
The dancing hot dog and it's just, it's so good. But, and also like having been to dozens of, I don't know how many, there's sort of a criteria, right? I mean, for me, like, I was thinking about this last night. I was thinking about drive-ins, right? I was really thinking about this. I was thinking like what's a good drive-in movie? Like Alien is not a good drive-in movie. One of my favorite movies. It's too dark, right?
Yeah. Yep.
You get lost. You lose some of the punch of that. I made some notes. What's a good one? Lawrence of Arabia is a spectacular drive-in movie. I mean, it's epic. It's big. It's bright. It's got a great soundtrack. You can be in and out of it and kind of watch it. Any David Lee film.
Yeah.
I think drive-ins are like the perfect venue for summer blockbusters / horror movies. Horror movies are huge at the drive-in. But to your point, like they can't be too dark because the part of the charm of a drive-in is that the projection is not always the best. And so you have to wait till it's pitch black outside to see anything on the drive-in screen. Yeah. But there's something like Jaws is, I think about Jaws as like, that is the pinnacle of a drive-in movie for me.
That was on my list. Jaws was the second one on my list of being a movie to see. Yeah. And then, You can't forget Halloween, right? I mean, like,
Oh yeah, nostalgic Halloween. Now listen, we're not going to advocate bringing open containers in your vehicle to the drive-in theater, but
No.
I'm just saying they would pair very well, Joe.
yeah, I agree.
How do we feel about animated films on at the drive-in? Because my favorite drive-in double feature, partially just who I was with, it was a great night, but Despicable Me, really solid animated film, followed up by Toy Story 3, one of the greatest animated films. That was a great double feature.
That's a good one. I mean, any Toy Story, I can watch it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
And Cars, too. Cars is another one.
Yeah. See, Cars is a movie that I don't go back to that often, but if you told me it was at the drive-in, I'm like, you're basically you're cosplaying to go see Cars at that point. I think it's great. Like
the other animated movie, because I have a grandson now, and he's like into these things, is Madagascar. That movie, that movie is so funny. That movie is.
I have never seen Madagascar.
It's
You
good.
gotta watch it.
Brad, we had a great drive-in experience last year. We took the kids. They did Inside Out 2. And then, there's the little intermission with the hot dog on the screen. Yep. And then they followed it up with the Garfield movie, which, I hope there's no big defenders of the Garfield movie. Absolutely sucked. I mean, like by far the worst movie of the year for me last year. However, by like the 25-minute mark, it was, 12:30 in the morning. The kids are passed out. So I looked at my wife and I was like, this is awful. Do we leave now? And she was like, yeah, let's do it. So it was great. We didn't have to sit through the bad one. They programmed that at the end. It was fantastic.
Yeah, I love it.
I'll tell you the other thing too is like we even brought our kids to the drive-in too, and like so we would go. We spent a lot of time on Cape Cod because I grew up in Boston. We love Cape Cod, and going to the movie theater, going to the drive-in in the Cape is a singular experience because the mosquitoes are so bad. So you have this balance of like you have to have the car running for a while with the windows up and cooling it down. But then the second you can't sit there your car right all day. You turn it off. It's almost like a cartoon. The swarm comes in and just attacks you. So it's probably not doing a lot for the drive-in tourism trade.
Yeah, not an endorsement that they're looking for right now.
Want to be eaten alive?
Now, are you guys like, I'm going to take my lawn chairs and sit outside the car type of people? Or are you, because I like to do windows up, lights turned all the way off, air conditioning on, and listen on the radio, because then you get the surround sound experience.
Yeah, I tend to be well, also I get to sit in the front seat, so that makes it a lot better.
I would say we've done the back of the truck, sit in the back of the truck with your radio. That's always a good time. Even now, we haven't taken my kids yet, but the other day we went to an ice cream shop and it was raining outside and it was a tiny shop and there's no room. So we just opened up the hatch of our minivan and sat in the back of our minivan and ate ice cream. I could see that being a great place to watch a drive-in film.
Yeah.
There is something great when you're a kid about when the parents open the back hatch and you're allowed to sit in a place that you were not previously allowed to sit. Like it's just
memorable.
I get to watch a movie and break rules. Like what could be better than that?
You back in, like you back up on the mountain and you lift it up. Yeah. Oh yeah. Exactly. That is a good way to do it.
Joe, I will once again advocate for at some point when we are all together, we need to host some sort of Film and Whiskey Barrell Craft Spirits movie night. Because it's always great to talk to a guest who knows his way around a movie, and it sounds like you know the ins and outs of a drive-in theater as well. So, yeah, we should. That's actually they do some. There are some in Louisville too. I think that there are some outdoor movies. I have to look into that.
Let's make it happen.
Or just
we're gonna do it.
Get a sheet and a projector.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we're going to see you in a couple weeks here at the Kentucky Bourbon Festival. But let me just say on behalf of me and Brad, thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you for these bottles of whiskey. And thank you, Joe Beatrice from Barrell Craft Spirits, for joining us on Film and Whiskey today.
Thanks for having me. I had a great time. I love doing this podcast. So much fun.
All right, guys, we will see you next week with another regularly scheduled episode. But until then, I'm Bob Book.
I'm Brad G.
And we'll see you next time.